Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you another classic film review, and the classic film review today is for 1985's western Pale Rider, a film that was of course directed by Clint Eastwood and stars Clint Eastwood. It also stars Michael Moriarty, Carrie Snodgrass, Sidney Penny, Chris Penn, Richard Keel and John Russell. Now this is the tale of a mysterious preacher, a nameless preacher that turns up in this small prospecting town, and there are these prospectors that are searching for gold, searching for their fortunes, and going about it quite peacefully in this own little community. However, the local businessman who runs the local quarries and wants all the area for himself in regards to searching for gold is terrorising this local prospecting community, and making their life very, very difficult and putting their lives at constant risk. However, the daughter of one of the prospectors, after she loses her dog in one of these attacks, basically prays for a miracle, prays to God for a miracle, and then out of the blue upturns this mysterious stranger, Clint Eastwood's character, simply named Preacher, who then brings all this community together, makes them stronger, makes them believe in themselves, and they decide to fight back. However, there is something a little bit different about this mysterious preacher, and he may have a connection to a bunch of sinister sheriffs that have been brought on board by the local businessman to get rid of these local prospectors. Right, so that's the basic premise of the story that we have here of Pale Rider. Now, for many, many years I wasn't that bothered about this film. I'd seen it a few times when I was younger, and I was a fan of Clint Eastwood when I was younger, and I always saw this as not necessarily one of his weakest, but certainly not one of my favourite westerns. And as I have matured as a person, and as a film fan, I've really learnt to appreciate this film far more. And in actual fact, this is a very, very good western, really nicely made western that has got a real nice, I don't know what the right word to say, is it supernatural twist to it or something like that. What I really like about this film is that Clint Eastwood allows you to make your own mind up as to who this preacher is. Is he a messenger sent by God to help this town? Because there are so many clues in this film that could be the case. You see these bullet holes, old bullet holes in his back that clearly would have killed any man. Obviously he's still here. There's loads of clues littered throughout this film that suggest he could be a ghost sent to help this small community. But it leaves it completely open for you to decide, and that's what I really, really like about that. I personally like to believe that theory, to give it that supernatural twist, that he is in fact some kind of vengeful ghost sent down from God or somewhere to help this small community. I just think that's a really cool concept, and in many ways very similar to the concept in a previous Clint Eastwood film, High Plains Drifter, another one of my favourites. And the reason I love that film is for the very, very same reason. It allows you to make your own mind up as to who the Clint Eastwood character is in that film. Is he related to the sheriff that was whipped to death, or is he indeed a ghost, or a reincarnation of that sheriff that's come back to wreak his revenge? And it lets you make your own decisions, as does this film. Now, what I also like about this film is its sense of community, and it's a little bit of a different performance by Clint, because he is putting on this facade, you could say, as a preacher. He may well be a preacher. It doesn't make it clear either way if he's a preacher or if he's just pretending to be a preacher. But he's got this much more reservedness about him. He's not this chiseled hard man, even though he can clearly take care of himself, as you see many times in this film. And there are some really cool scenes, especially the wood fighting scene at the beginning when he's first introduced, and then of course the cool way he gets rid of all the bad guys at the end of the film is really fantastic. So it's a slightly different Clint Eastwood Western character. It's not the gruff, bearded, tobacco spitting, hard as nails Western character. It's quite tender. Some would argue he's can be a little bit of a bad guy himself in this film, especially when in regards to the women in this film and how he approaches some of those that really fall for him and his character. So you could argue that he betrays some characters in this film. So he's not. I don't think he's either good or bad in this film. Not necessarily. He's just there, and he's there to do this task, which is to unite this prospecting community to fight back against this greedy local businessman. But is it really just an excuse for this nameless Clint Eastwood character to seek his revenge on these corrupt sheriff and his deputies that may well have gunned him down in a previous life or years gone by? It's a great idea. It's a great concept in the sense of it lets you make your mind up in so many different areas of this film, and in actual fact I think it's a really fine Western, and it sits proudly up there with many other of Clint Eastwood's fine Westerns. I mean, he's done so many fantastic Westerns. My personal favourite is The Outlaw Josie Wales. I've done a review for that on this channel. I just think that is an outstanding Western in every way. It's pretty much flawless, and this is another one. I mean, his last Western before he did this one was The Outlaw Josie Wales, and his next Western after this one was Unforgiven. So you could those were his last three Westerns, and three almost flawless Westerns in many ways. So a great way to sign off his career in the Western, and by making his Western. So I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I'm a real big fan of it, and it is definitely up there with some of the finest Clint Eastwood Westerns, and it is a little bit different as well with its potential supernatural twist. So that is my classic film review for Pale Rider. Definitely want to check out if you are a fan of Westerns, or if you have never seen it and you're a fan of Clint. Definitely seek it out. So that is my review. I look forward to seeing you on more reviews on Screen Stars very soon.